Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Fatin Noizati binti Abdul Latif from RSR 2433A. We'll start this presentation with an introduction to this topic, which is high intensity interval training leads to reduced testosterone and increased estrogen levels in young women. The reason this study was conducted is because they want to assess the effect of HIIT, or we call it as high intensity interval training, on the health of hormones of femininity and fertility in young women. Also, it wanted to explain that the present of a balance between generation metabolism and clearance rates. Hormone levels can be calculated. This balance can be impacted by high intensity interval training, or we call it as HIIT, in a number of ways, including food, body composition, heat generation, and competition-related stress. Here, this study has shown that HIIT consists of short intervals of intense exercise followed by recovery periods of lower intensity. Not to mention, even if the activity surpasses the physiological limit, this has negative consequences on the skeletal and reproductive systems, one of which is primary or secondary amenorrhea. Moreover, previous research has shown that long-term, high-intensity exercise has a negative impact on female reproductive hormones. At this moment, women who regularly engage in high-intensity exercise may have menstrual irregularities, such as oligomenorrhea, amenorrhea, or delayed menarche, as a result of hormonal changes. Here, the purpose of this study is to look into the potential of HIIT intervention that may be beneficial in reducing or preventing the effects of reproductive health among female athletes by assessing femininity and fertility hormones. That's all from me for the introduction.
My name is Muhammad Hatim Ibn Ashri, and my metric number is 2022748 and 603. I will be explaining the method part. The present investigation evaluated 18 females. Before beginning the measure, the participant went through a familiarization session. Those with any type of metabolic disorder as well as any pulmonary, cardiovascular, or renal pathological condition were disqualified from participation. All participants' oral and written informed consents were required to be obtained before to start any of the testing or training session start. Blood was sampled under controlled laboratory circumstances by trained laboratory professionals. Participants were required to fast at least 4 hours before giving a blood sample. The third day of the spontaneous cycle was then used to obtain the venous blood sample. The obtained sample were fridged at 8000 rpm for 50 minutes at 4 degrees, after being allowed to clot in a room temperature for an hour. After that, the serum sample were kept at -20 degrees still being analyzed. Using the immunoanalyzer, clear non-hemolyzed sera were isolated, used for solid phase competitive chemiluminescent enzyme immunoassay for a measurement of testosterone, estrogen, foster stimulating, luteinizing, and prolactin. Prior to the trial, none of the individuals had participated in any kind of exercise training program for at least 2 months. For 8 weeks and alternating days, the group complete their HIIT exercise program for 3 sessions, 2 hours after lunch on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Each individual's maximum number of repetitions have been measured on 1 RM was measured. So, before going to a warm-up set of 3 to 5 repetitions at 85% of their estimate 1 RM, participants did a warm-up set of 8 to 10 repetitions at 50% of their estimated 1 RM. Participants conducted 1 RM attempt over 4 to 5 trials spaced by 3-minute rest period and ascertain their squat 1 RM. 4 weeks of HIIT program training were allowed by a new measurement of 1 RM and re-establish of intensity. The comprehensive exercise training schedule is displayed on the table shown.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Zaiman bin Mazad. My metric number is 2022736967. Now, I am going to talk about the result. Now, look at the table 1. It is about the physical characteristic of the participants. The values are shown as mean. The result of the current experimental procedure are presented as mean plus minus standard error of the mean, which is SAM, for the given number of the participants, that is shown below. Table 1 presents the anthropometric and the physical characteristic of the participant, which is age, body mass index. Okay, now let's look at the table. For me, the age is about 18.06, for the height is 1.65 meter, body mass is about 633.35 kg, and the body mass index is about 21.35 kg. Now, for the SAM, age is about 128, height is about 2.74, body mass is about 2.68, and the body mass index is about 0.46. Figure 1 until 3 depicts the primary data of the current study. It was revealed that 8-week training had a significant impact on estrogen, testosterone, and follicle-stimulating hormone (FSH) levels. In addition, there was a twofold increase in estrogen level post-exercise training compared to the basal measurement prior to the initiation of the exercise intervention that shown in figure 1. Now, let me see figures 1. The figures 1 shows that the estrogen levels under basal and post-exercise training conditions. Like I said before, there was a twofold increase in estrogen levels after exercise training compared to the baseline assessment before the start of the exercise intervention. So, as you can see, the estrogen levels for basal phase are lower than the estrogen hormone levels on post-exercise training. It is because the hormone will be stimulated during the exercise. So, if we're doing an exercise, the hormone estrogen will be increased in our body. Now, let's move to the figures 2. There is 3 graphs, which is the first is testosterone hormone, the second is about the follicle stimulating hormone, and the last is about luteinizing hormone. Now, for the testosterone hormone, in basal phase, the testosterone hormone levels are higher than the post-exercise training. Why it is higher? Because the testosterone hormone that released during an exercise are very low. Testosterone levels were reduced by approximately 3-fold. It means when we are doing an exercise, the hormone will be released slowly. Next is about follicle stimulating hormones. As you can see, the hormone in basal phase are higher, a little bit higher than the in post-exercise training, which is the follicle stimulating hormone, that found to be slightly lower, approximately 15% following the exercise training. Because when doing an exercise training, the follicle stimulating hormone will release a little bit high from the post-exercise training. And the last is about luteinizing hormone, which is the post-exercise training are highest a little bit from the luteinizing hormone levels in basal phase. Now, the last figures is figures 3, which is the prolactin of between the basal phase and also the post-exercise training. In contrast, 8 weeks of exercise training had no discernible effect on LH and prolactin. Why? Because the circulation prolactin levels in blood during exercise are very low, that did not affect the prolactin during the exercise, without the magnitude of the increase approximately proportionally to the intensity of the physical activity, which is there is no intensity that can increase the prolactin during the exercise.
Hi, my name is Nuatira binti Abdul Latif. My metric number 202276Y891. My part in this study is I'm gonna talk about discussion that has been discussed in this study. First thing first, do you know that this study found that high intensity interval training had an effect on estrogen and testosterone hormones in young females? However, this could be related to the small sample size of this study. In this study, hormonal estrogen levels showed an increased. Also, estrogen plays a crucial role in promoting the development of female reproductive structure. Results have been reported by Hackney at 2020. They assessed that 7 young women's hormonal responses on a moderate bicycle ergometer for 8 weeks in a relative intensity. Their study detected an increase in beta-endorphin and reproductive hormone levels. And also next, the Copeland in 2002 investigated that the female hormonal endurance and resistance training responses. They found an increase in estradiol levels. In addition to the increase of estrogen, the current study reported an increase in testosterone levels related to the impact of these studies. This study's purpose, high-intensity interval training. These results were analysis of Garadagi in 2021. They reported that the resistant exercise could induce a temporary rise in testosterone in young females. Smiths in 2007 results were reported as they found that physical activity level was inversely related to estrogen in late transition age. Then, a relative difference of 54% in estrogen levels was detected when comparing highest to the lowest activity. It was shown that physical activity was inversely related to testosterone levels, and 47% was detected when comparing to the highest to the lowest activity. Also, the levels of sex hormones in the blood may not represent their effects on target tissues. Physical activity may continue to affect sex hormone function by modulating target tissue sensitivity to these hormones.
The inferred conclusion is that regular exercise may cause changes in a woman's levels of reproductive hormones, including an increase in estrogen levels and a decrease in the test level. In particular, young women should engage in high-intensity interval training since it will increase the estrogen levels and lower down the testosterone levels while having a little bit impact on trophic hormones such as luteinizing hormones and prolactin. That's all from us. Thank you.